When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
David.
Where's everybody?
9 painful months.
Without these special people behind me, I wouldn't have a search.
Because of the way seatbelt locked, so we know seatbelt. Hello, everyone. Dave Rawson here. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream here on Friday, the 13th. Though the way it sounds is a very great day. Today was a good day. I'm really appreciative for every day that we can get here above ground. So just want to say thank you so much for joining in on this live stream. I hopefully can start off with some of the comments, but I don't have any comments just yet. But definitely, if you have any comments, please put them in the chat box and I will post them here and put them on the screen. But again, thank you so much for being a part of this live stream. I have a couple things I want to talk about tonight. Of course, first of all, first being my main priority is my son, Daniel Robinson, who went missing on June 23rd, 2021. Still searching for him. It's going on 5 years. Can you all believe that time has gone by so fast? It's been 5 years, and though we have gotten some answers when it comes to information about Daniel's vehicle, to some other little details, we're still searching. We're trying to make sure that we get law enforcement do their part. Every information that was found about my son's vehicle, everything we know to this point, it came from my own investigation, my private investigator. Those alone. So right now, as it stands, to give you a little update on the case. You guys remember last year I had the meeting with law enforcement, Buckeye Police Department, to do forensics on everything on this that was found on the scene, the vehicle as well, the airbags, everything, and to do it properly. So some of the things they haven't done at the beginning, those things was given to me 2 days after the vehicle actually the next day after the vehicle was found. From that point, I had them to try to do some type of forensic work. I asked for fingerprint, and of course, they did the swabbing of the steering wheel shifter and door handle to date. Here it is, 2026. They haven't done anything with that. So that was part of some of the promises they was giving me in April last year. Again, to go back over the information that was the things that was available. I took everything out of my storage unit. You guys remember that I had to close the storage unit for law enforcement, the Buckeye Police Department, to do their job. Their due diligence, do the job they should have done at the beginning. So we did have those custody exchanges, body cam footage, you name it, all of that stuff. They gave me a promise, and I can't tell you to give you an update to date. They haven't moved on it. The only thing I have gotten word on from Detective Adams, his name is Justice Adams, is that they were he took some chemicals. He said, like, I think it's called luminous or something like that. He took some chemical that's similar to that. He said he didn't use that, but used something similar to that to see if there was any blood on the clothing that was found at the crime scene. I call it a crime scene. They don't, but found at the crime scene. As you probably can remember, my family and I, we do not identify the clothing that was found on the crime scene, but Buckeye Police Department is forcing it to our family to say it's his clothing, despite the fact that my daughter, who lived in Phoenix at the time, see Daniel almost every day. See him all the time, and those clothing was, like I said, it's nothing that we family-wise identify. But yet the police department, rather than test it for DNA, if evidence that it belongs to Daniel that's not just been placed, as my investigator deemed the whole scene as a staging event, to verify that, they decide to say, hey, no, you're going to take this, like it or not, this is your son's clothing. So those things should have been tested. They haven't been done so. And also the airbags haven't been tested, though I gave them those things over to the Buckeye Police Department. All the airbags, I'm saying the passenger side as well, because since all the airbags deployed on the passenger side as well, signifying someone maybe in that passenger side. Also, going back over all of everything. Like I said, they haven't moved on it. One of the things I think the handicap of not getting Buckeye to move was when I was in Arizona. You ever notice that I was able to sit down with law enforcement, with Sheriff in the zone at the time for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Though I was in person, when I'm in their face and then really putting the pressure on them, and they have the reporters coming on them and having you guys making the phone calls, and I'm showing up to their office and all the stuff. I was actually pushing law enforcement along, pushing them along to do a little stuff. But now that, funding have ran dry, can't be in Arizona as much as I'd like to, it kind of, to me, in my opinion, give shade not to do anything. And that's exactly what's been going on. So if you ask the question, what's the update of those things, that's what's happening now. But I can tell you, I did put in a FOIA request about a couple of weeks ago, a new one. I did it before. Of course, the first FOIA request I had was to verify that they had the Phoenix Firebird helicopter in the air to this date, and I did that in 2022. And here it is, 2026. They still haven't provided proof that it actually even happened. Again, I have evidence to say it never happened. It was a falsification of the police report, and I will be probably putting that together eventually. But the other part is, that was something that I believe just to tell my family that to make us feel a lot better. The other part is, I can say that, as for a FOIA request through the A-team, we have some members in A-team that asked for a FOIA request. I'm not sure they even gotten anything from that as well, because I haven't received anything from that. So this time, like I said, here in 2026, I had put in a FOIA request, and I'm still waiting on the items and things that I asked for, because we need to see exactly transparency and see what law enforcement have done. Speaking of transparency, I will be talking about some things that I put on the earlier today. I made a video and I talked about some of the things I want to talk about tonight. And I really, really reluctantly have to do so. I have people that would say, David, you don't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. And that don't make sense to do it. But I have to, because first of all, it's almost the same way I feel when I had law enforcement. And I get it. Of course, reporters and news organizations are going to follow whatever law enforcement says. If whatever they says, regardless of facts, they hold it as stone. And so, Daniel's he's a scientist, for instance. He's a scientist. He's a brilliant young man, graduated with honors, very stable, have dreams, aspirations, just finished building a computer himself. He's not a computer engineer major like I am, but he actually put his own computer together 2 days before he went missing. He completed it. Had plans to go out that weekend with his sister to go hiking. And he talked to me 2 days prior to him disappearing. And in neither of those occasions where we saw anything that would suggest that he had any mental or depression or all the things that, again, law enforcement is pressing down on the family's neck and say, no, you're going to take what we believe versus what the family believes, right? That know him. And I'm being a single parent, I know my son. And so the other part is, of course, if it was anything, You know, people can have bad days. I can feel bad. I feel down now. I don't have a son. One of my sons missing, and you know, I feel down all the time about it. Don't mean that I'm depressed and I'm going to off myself and go off and do something crazy. So those things are irrelevant when it came to my son's disappearance, right? And so I just want to say that's not. I don't feel that's the case for Daniel, but I'm saying even if he felt a little down about it in the situation, financial, though he was doing Instacart, so I kind of think about that sometimes. He could have been upset that he's, you know, lacking funding or something. I don't know, but as far as to say that, you know, right now tonight I want to talk about some things that I spoke about earlier, and that is the need. You guys have helped me, and I want to go here from off of Daniel's perspective to my perspective in certain areas of things that I had to go through as a father to talk to even to advocate for my son, to fight for my son, to do what any parent would have done in the situation that I'm in. And you know, I can't say, you know, this role right here that I do is often alone. I feel alone a lot of times. I have a lot of people around me, and I really appreciate everybody's support. But I often feel alone because I have to do so much things on my own. It may seem like I have a lot of people doing it, but it's really not that case. I say this many times before on the live stream. Most of the things I do is a one man show. When I say one man show, I'm doing it all by myself. Whether that's running for Congress to you know, most of the things I have to do is like actually doing it myself. I have people that will help somewhat in certain areas, but then when it comes down to the bulk of things, I'm actually doing it myself. There's not a complaint, but I'm going to want to go explain some of these things to you guys so you can understand that. We can get some of the issues that I had today. Well, I won't say yesterday when I had a comment when I was asking for a little help with the general public from things that I really need. So, but I want to say up front, I really thank the people who have been supporting, those who have been donating to everything. I mean, when I say everything, I would not have been doing any of this if it wasn't you guys' help. You know what I'm saying? You know, things cannot go without funding, without, you know, you guys giving me some encouragements. I get a lot of encouragements as well from strangers. I get more encouragement from strangers than a lot of times even people I do know. So I just want to say, you know, thank you guys for the encouragement, the great words. Those things mean a lot to me. You know, that definitely keep me going. It keep me level-headed because a lot of times, you know, we have. I was at an event over the weekend, last weekend, and I was talking to some of the people there, and I was telling them, look, you know, you have a missing loved one. It's easy to go into off the deep end. I mean, that you're so emotional and so much in pain. You know, you're not thinking logically. You know, you have people that take advantage of you if they can. You know, I had all of that. It cost me $21,000 at one point. Cost me 10,000 at another one, 12,000 at another one. So when it comes to financial stuff, it can actually cost you. People can take you, if you're vulnerable at the state that you're in, we have a missing loved one, they can take advantage of that. And so you have to look out for that when you have a missing loved one too. So I always express that to people who have loved ones missing. But to get what I want to talk about too, without going around the corners, I just want to say, first of all, I want to thank everybody for those who are here with me tonight in the chat. Thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, we will find Daniel. Thanks for coming off the YouTube side. Jay, thank you so much. Um, I don't know what that means, but thank you so much for being here. And also, I want to thank Tracy. Thanks so much. Hello to you. And let me see. And I may not, you know, what organization win subject, and I'm not sure where everything come here, but I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for being here, Zombie as well. But I want to tell you, you may see some things in the chat. I don't have any moderators tonight. I don't believe. I don't see any of my moderators tonight. So if something come on the chats, please ignore it. And I'm going to say it up front because I'm going down, and a lot of times, you know, I come down and I'm just going to pick because I'm really want to hear from everybody. I want to hear your comments. If you had questions, of course, I want to answer those. But sometimes I can't vet things. So, and I can tell you from my experience with going back to what I was saying, when people take advantage of you, and I had to end up costing me a whole lot of money. For instance, people take your pain. Some people out there, all they do is prey on other people's pains. I'm here tonight to talk to you guys of honesty and love and respect. And I'm sure I almost can be certain that I maybe come down to the comment section, I find some comments that is not appealing. I mean, I've even seen porn come on things before when it came to my moderators had to block off the chat set. So if I accidentally put something up that's not favorable, please forgive me. I'm just going down really fast. I'm not a moderator trying to get the chats. And sometimes when I can't read it until I put it up a lot of times. And if it's something that's not pleasant or anything, so I ask for your apology. I give apologies for that. And I hope it's not offensive to anyone. So I just want to put that up front because there are some people that just prey on others' pain. They'll come with things like this and turn it to something else. So I want to make sure I point that out. But thank you so much, Mel, again, for being here. Hope, thank you so much for being here. You said your transparency is honest, raw, and ethically sound, although it's unfortunate as to why you have to do this today. Yeah, I'm glad you say that. Thanks so much, and I'm going to speak on that behalf. It still shows great integrity. I'm very sorry for everything and you're definitely a warrior. Thanks so much. I appreciate that, Hope. And to speak on that really quick, Hope. Yeah, it took a lot for me to even do this right here. Because first of all, I have a lot of pride, and I can't tell you I'm a man of faith and I believe in God. So when I say certain things, I don't know everybody's belief and their spiritual beliefs, but what I can say is that I've been through a long life. Here I am, as a grown man, been through life, and I have never had to ask anybody for anything. And I can be straight up honest. I can tell you that it probably happened to me once. I can't say I won't say never, because once when I was in the military, I can give you guys a story. You probably read that in my book one day. I'm gonna give you a little piece of that right now. But I was actually homeless in the military before, sleeping under a bridge on post at Fort Hood in Texas, because my unit kicked me out at one point. Now we can talk about that. It's gonna be part of something I would talk about in the future. But what I'm saying is, at that point, I literally didn't have anything. I didn't have any food, so I know what it was like to be homeless at the time and in uniform. Know how it is to be but homeless. And I remember a time where, God came to me and said, hey, look, if you don't eat, you're going to die, pretty much. But I had to be in formation. I had to run those 5 miles every morning. I was looking skinny as I don't know what, because I didn't have anything, right? So what I'm saying is I've been there where I had to ask somebody for something, because the reason why it was hard for me to eat, I remember those days, is because I'd rather had died almost than to ask anybody for anything, right? So I had a lot of pride, to make a long story. And so I feel like God had break that pride that I had in the past by allowing me to go through that. So I would ask, and I would ask my best friend. He's a best friend. He's no longer living right now, but had to ask him for a couple of dollars just to go get something from a Walmart. And so what I'm saying is, I've been through that point in my life where I understood that sometimes you just have to ask people for something. I think it says if you don't ask, you don't receive. So I have to ask. So when it came to to go back to what I'm doing now, it came to Daniel in my life. I'm a retired military guy, trying to cover from my war experience. I'm part of Operation Enduring Freedom, fought for this country, sustained injuries that ended my career while I was in because of IEDs when I was in Afghanistan. So I've been through that. Sitting here trying to deal with my own pains, deal with my own issues, with things that happen to my battle buddies over there. Things that normal veterans have to deal with, right? And then your child go missing. You go out there and you just go straight gun ho. You forget about your own pains. You do put all that aside. So again, there's a big story to putting that mission first. Putting that mission first so I can stay level-headed for Daniel, make sure I'm there for him, and handle stuff. And to this day, the same mission I'm on. But what I'm saying is, when you put those things aside and you have to go out there and look for your loved one. And I'm out there, and when I made it to Phoenix, Arizona, and I sat there in that hotel room, picking my daughter up, and I drove my car already, picked my daughter up, and we're going to the airport to try to make sure we do our due diligence, talking to law enforcement, going to his job, spend a whole lot of money, gas money, all the stuff coming out of my pocket, out of pocket, out of pocket, out of pocket. That's what parents gonna do. That's family do. And I'm not saying anybody owe me anything because I had to do that. What I'm saying is this is what parents do. This is what family members do. We just go all out. When it got to a point where I didn't have any money, funds were getting very low, my daughter introduced GoFundMe to me, and that's where everything started. So like I said, you guys, the first ask I had when I got to Arizona was, can you guys help me keep my boots on the ground? Because I identified that if I'm not there to fight for Daniel, nobody else would. That was the first thing. I went out there to to Buckeye almost every day, standing outside on Sun Valley Parkway on at that gate there with my binoculars. That's why you probably see some pictures there. You saw me with my binoculars. That's exactly where that pictures come from. I used to sit out there a lot, and it pained me. It pained me really bad that I listened to what Buckeye was telling me at the time about taking my vehicle out there. I'm gonna get stuck. Being a person who's a veteran that understood the deserts, understand the terrain, things that can happen out there. I have been studying. I've been in that hotel room studying in that desert. Learned a lot about that desert, the histories, about the land, all that stuff. Right. In the midst of doing everything else, I'm doing fighting, trying to building the website. Please have finddaniel.com. I built that website. I had someone to revamp it for me, but I built that website. Searchfordaniel.org. I built that website. So we have all the social media platforms that you see me on right now. I put those together. I was doing all of that, and at the same time advocating, trying my best to get Daniel's story out there, but at the same time, like I say, learning everything about that desert. So once I had enough, it was really painful me going out there with that binoculars every day, looking out there to see if I could see my son from afar. It was crazy. I had to get out there. The only thing that kept me from my son was the desert itself. I spent a lot of time at night talking to people, trying to find out who live in Buckeye, who knows about the area. And I found a gentleman, young lady who introduced me to a gentleman who lived out there, and he became my first search coordinator. And so from that point, that's where my searches began. And of course, with searches, the first search, I didn't utilize a whole lot. But when it came to actually doing searches, then I realized I had to do a whole lot more. I mean, provide logistics for the volunteers out there, their safety. I identified really quick that if I'm going to ask anybody to come out in the desert terrain, it's not like me walking down the street in my neighborhood, knocking on doors, going in the neighborhood looking for my son, or in the civilization-like area, searching for my son down the block somewhere. No, this is in the Sonoran Desert. And you have to make sure that you're keeping people safe. You're in 118 degrees, keeping people safe. What do? You're responsible for people, right? And so, of course, that's going to end up costing. And so that GoFundMe changed from helped me keep my boots on the ground, which everybody was doing that. I really appreciate those who helped me cover the cost of me actually keep myself in Arizona at the time, because I was on the news organizations telling you, I'm not leaving until I find my son. Because in my ideal, I was going to find Daniel really quick. And so what I can say, it took longer than I thought. And that GoFundMe had to be raised. If you talk to my team, talk to people that know me, even the desert team at the time, they had to push me to ask for more on the GoFundMe. They literally had to push me. I didn't want to ask for no more. People's giving me a little beyond the ask. I was really happy about that because it did cover a lot of stuff. But then I had to ask for it because people had to say, David, you need to raise it. You need to raise it. No, I don't want to raise it. No, you have to raise the amount. You need to raise it. So those been happening over the years to help me continue to ask people to help fund what I've been doing in the desert. And I can tell you a little bit, and I'm going to go tonight to talk about that a little bit. And the reason why I'm doing this tonight, and I will jump on that really quick here. And I want to share a screen with everyone. And this is what really prompted me to come on tonight. And I'll be right back onto your comment, Hope Reigns. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. But I'm going to pull it off right now, and then I'm going to share a screen because I really want everybody to get exactly why I said this is going to be a different one tonight. And what I want to talk about is and I can't tell you, it somewhat offended me in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I say people ask things because it don't have to necessarily be nefarious, what they have to say, but some people actually care. Like, hey, look, I'm giving you some funding, I'm donating to you, and I need to know what happened, right? What's happening with it. So I really, sometimes you don't think about that. I've just been grateful for everybody who's been helping me along the way for all these years now. So sometimes you don't think about that. Everybody have different reasons, but anyway, I want to put this on the screen here. And what I have here is a comment from I asked everyone to help me to recover from a debt, the debt that I have from 4 years of searching for my son. I can tell you guys it's not easy because I've been battling this thing for months and months, and I still do things regardless of having this over my head. I still make things happen. And so it's really difficult. So when I did that, I did get a lot of comments, and one said, donate to your son. Is about my age, and I have never forgotten him. And I tell you guys, I try to block out their pictures and names. So, I don't want to offend anybody or put anybody information out. And so also the other one was the second. This is the one that really got to me. Where has all the money gone? You keep asking, and let's be real. First GoFundMe was over 400,000. Then you had Cash Apps, and there's a plural, and also another GoFundMe. And so I'm going to address in a second, but then things like this from this person donated and shared. Your son has not been forgotten. He is in our daily prayers. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me. I want to put myself on the screen so you guys can see me at the same time. But that means a lot to me. It means a whole lot to me. Doesn't this case seem similar to Joseph Aranda case? I didn't know who that was, but it's so strange. Pray they are found. So those comments really helped me as well. Thinking of your son in Arizona as this Nancy Guthrie search is on. I guess the person, this goes a little further about Daniel's case and some things that happened, and I can too. And I'm going to address it. And I want to say really quick, my prayers is with the Guthrie family, what they're going through. I know it's really rough. Trust me. Regardless of how much attention they are getting, how much urgency they are getting, everybody deserves that. That family deserves that, and I really hope they find her really quickly. So I want to put that out. That's always my goal. From day one when I became passionate about other families finding their missing loved ones. To me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think that every family should be found. A family member that's missing should be found, and in that case, it's the same as that way I feel about what happened in Daniel's case and everybody else's case. Just make sure that we find these missing loved ones and do everything we can to make sure that happens. So I want to throw that out real quick, but go back to this comment. Where has all the money gone? You keep asking, and let's be real. First GoFundMe was over 400,000. Then you Cash App. Then you had Cash Apps and another GoFundMe. First of all, I want to address the Cash App. Excuse my voice, you guys. When I get a little bit of a stress like that, I guess I lose my voice or whatever the case may be. But what I want to say is, first of all, the Cash Apps. I don't have a Cash App. I had a Cash App for Instagram. I think it was Twitter. Excuse me. Someone back in 2021, I believe it was 2022, was asking me to do a Cash App because they don't like GoFundMe. They said, hey, I want to give you all the money to that effect. Something that I don't know. At the time, I didn't know much about Cash Apps, but I put a Cash App up there, and I can tell you it's not even been used, first of all, and I've forgotten all about it. So there is a Cash App that's sitting on just the Twitter, probably still there right now, but there's nobody ever used that Cash App thing. So I want to put that out first, and because if they use it, I don't see it. I haven't checked on those things, but the thing is there, and somebody asked me that years ago because they didn't want to give the GoFundMe. They say, oh, GoFundMe takes fees. I didn't know. All I'm doing at the time, I was really busy just trying to go out there and find Daniel. So those little particular things like that, I didn't really pay attention to them. Now I can tell you the GoFundMe, the one I'm just speaking about right now is, and I'm gonna put your comment back up there, Hope Reigns, if I can, because this is significant to me when you say that, because this is what it matters to me, is that say, hey, look, I feel like, it do feel a certain way that I feel like I have to do this, but at the same time I have to, because I had this done before in the past. I remember when Daniel first went missing, I even had some people who used to be part of my search crew would question me about funding, right? And I did forgot to put one thing I wanted to put up tonight. Now, I'm just going to tell you guys, and I hope you guys can Google it and find that information out yourself when I talk about it. But anyway, I had during the time in the past, I had some people that was in my search was asking things about funding and things like that, and then I even turn out. That's what, I'll be honest, what I despise when I always everything had to always be about funding and money and all this kind of stuff, because there's a lot. I think I even heard some things about on Buckeye's behalf, putting in a police report about what Mr. McGrath felt about me once he quit, those type things. So what I can say, I have to defend who I am, my honor, and who I am as a person, and things like that. And you would think that after all the stress that I have been through, the fights, everything, that people actually can see who you are, but there's always some people that still don't, right? And so what I can say that GoFundMe that you guys see with $400,000 collected, people don't understand how a lot of people don't understand how GoFundMe works. It don't calculate or take away what you use and things like that. It's an ongoing thing. So it's ongoing. So it's not a new GoFundMe that says, oh, look, it now is back. He's constantly, so 400,000 sitting in the bank. I'll just put it that way, right? And so we have things like separate stuff. When I have events, when that money slowed down with GoFundMe after all the searches and things like that, I have events and things like that I need to try to cover for, and I ask you guys for help. So I might have to open up one GoFundMe that is specifically for that reason. And those are the things that helped me. For instance, I did one that helped me get to Arizona just to do that last search, and also do the stuff with the Buckeye Police Department. So then I close it back down. I don't need it any longer, because then that helped me, because sometimes I think people do get confused and say, oh, I see $400,000. He don't need anything. That's not the facts. So I just wanted to kind of go over that tonight, so you can kind of get an idea of what's been happening. Again, to give you a little backdrop, yes, I had to keep my boots on the ground. From keeping my boots on the ground, I had to start my searches. That means getting equipment, to you name it. And that didn't also mean that I didn't do like the city searches at the time. That means going to all the the homeless populations, the hospital, those kind of travels. Arizona is really big and spread out. Depends on you got to go to these different cities, especially Phoenix was really a lot to do. And then I started my flyer distribution. Going out to passing out to homeless population. But at the same time, I started one where I used to be behind Walgreens. So I'm constantly printing out these flyers that goes all over the place, bringing some out to the searches for volunteers. Some volunteers, they can't actually can't come out in the desert and help us, like walking and things like that. But they'll come up there in the morning for the safety briefing, grab a bunch of tons of flyers to take back out into their communities to pass out for me, right? So needless to say, I'm producing thousands of flyers all the time, a week. And so those things are going out like constantly, really all over the place. Also, following leads, I can just go on and on for different things. We even had to get a fixed aircraft before, had to get a helicopter before, we had to get, a lot of equipment and things like that. So those things go on. So I'm going to talk about some of those really quick, and I'm going to share a screen again, if I can here, and go to the next one up here. Let's see here, if I can get this right. I'm going to use an example. This is one of the invoices of the flyers. And this is what I end up spending sometimes. That's like a midweek. Like this right here, this amount would be done twice a week, for instance, right? It's easy for me to spend from $800 to $1,000 a week on flyers alone. And that's it. You multiply that by how many weeks that are in 4 years, right? And then you see what the amount will come up to. You'll get probably roughly around $80-something thousand, right? And so you start looking at that, but this is only small, minor. This is one. If you look at the date, March 3rd of 2022. You go to the next one, March 9th. On a few days later, here's another $600 of going into just flyers. So when you guys go on policehelpfinddane.com and say, hey, you can get these flyers for free, they're not actually free. We have to actually pay for those, right? So I'm using this is back from those times. So you start doing the math on that, and that's in 1 week. So now you're up to First you spending 400 on one day. The next day is nine for another $600 something, and then some few days after that is $400 something. Then a few days after that is $800 something. Then a few days, so it just keep going on and on. These are actually invoiced. Even when I went to CrimeCon at one time, we actually probably spent about $1,000 on flyers to get them out there because demand is really high. And I really thank everybody who's been asking for these flyers because the demand was really high and people was actually getting them and getting them out there. For me, it was a win-win because I'm working out there in the desert really hard. I know I need to get Daniel's name out there out there in the streets. I need all awareness. When I'm talking about things on this Q&A, I really mean it. When I'm on this live stream, like, look, there's somebody that might be in Little Whiskey, Georgia, and the person just left. I use this a lot. Left Buckeye, Arizona. They moved to Georgia. Now they live in Little Whiskey, Georgia, and those flyers out there. They passed the flyers. Somebody heard something, and that person Little Whiskey, Georgia, say, "Oh, I used to live out there off of Sun Valley Parkway, and I remember something that day because somebody gave them that flyer." Because I talked about all the time. Some people say, "Why are you still trying to put flyers out?" Because we don't know where Daniel is. We don't know who know something where they are, and also it helps me in many ways. When they get flyers out there, people start learning about Daniel's case. That's called resources. And we need resources. I need resources. I need funding. I need funding to do everything I have done. I need funding. I'm just a military guy with military pay, right? Retirement pay. And could you imagine that covering all of this? That's impossible. I have a mortgage at home. I have a young child at the time to take care of. Just because I was in Arizona doesn't mean I didn't have have responsibilities. And so what I'm saying is, I really appreciate everybody who had trusted me and really helped me with this cause. Law enforcement wasn't doing it. Law enforcement didn't find human remains. Law enforcement didn't to solve the case that I did for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office out there in that desert. Law enforcement did not find all the information and evidence that we found when I hired my private investigator. So who gonna do it? Where the money gonna come from? Who's gonna actually do it? And so you guys helped me. So I really say the persons that really helped me wasn't the state. It wasn't the state of Buckeye, who has labs and have dogs and have all those things to do. It wasn't them. It was you guys. You guys had helped me do all of that. That's why I say when you guys see me on the Q&As and stuff like that, and I really tell you guys I love you and I thank you, and I really mean that stuff. When I'm out there in my search out there with people, and they can tell you when we have our safety meeting, those are my family. To me, right? I mean that stuff because nobody go spend their time and money to come help me, right? And so that's the point I'm making. So when I hear the comments that I had, people just don't know who you are and why you're doing. If they was in your shoes, then they can understand that, right? It's not easy. So I want to keep on going with this a little bit, just not just the invoice, because I'm gonna go back a little bit. Oh, I need to put y'all on the screen here. Where I'm at. Oh my God, there we go. I'm going back on the screen. I'm gonna go back one because I was on the invoices and show you guys about how much they can actually cost. These flyers weekly. These are weekly now, $1,000 weekly, sometimes $900 weekly. It depends on the demand, right? It can go up there. And so I still put out flyers. I still put out flyers as much as I can. People ask me right now for flyers. But then I had later on tried to get a better deal. I went with this Fishy Graphics, who gave me a little discount of those costs, bring the cost down some. I really appreciate it. His name is Daniel as well. But he gave me a pretty good deal, gave me the same quality of flyers. And then I've started getting my flyers from him from that point. So it's still roughly around the same amount, depends on demand. It could be $600 in 1 week or twice that. So it can cost, is what I'm trying to say. The other thing I want to go is when I had to go out there in the desert to search for Daniel again, let me put myself on the screen with you guys. Search with Daniel. Again, I always have other people's family members in mind. I don't just think about myself. Oh, you come help me find my son. I heard some person even ask me why it costs money to help to go search for your son. You haven't been out there in the desert, I'm sure. When people say that, I think they haven't been in the desert. They probably have missing loved one who've been missing in a community, a neighborhood, or something like that, right? But I can tell you guys, and this is why I was going to ask you to go Google it. If you listen to me right now, you can actually go Google this, right? And I don't bring it up lightly. I bring it up because it happened around the same time my son went missing. Matter of fact, it happened 3 months after my son went missing. And I'm gonna talk about a couple of those things while I'm doing this. It costs. They spent over $1 million. This is when I say they, I'm talking law enforcement. Law enforcement spent over $1 million, and I think it was probably in a couple of days, or at least the height of that, probably 2 weeks time, right? I've been doing searches for 50 weeks, and that's only when I say 50 weeks of desert searching. You guys, I want everybody to understand this really clearly. I'm only talking the weekend searches. There's also weekday searches, and that's not including the city searches, and that's not including the flyer distribution or going out there, right? So they're just focusing, when you hear it on the news and hear all that, I'm just focusing just on the desert searches on the weekends, only on the weekends. But there's more searches than that, right? Every week. What I'm saying is, we have law enforcement spent $1 million, $1 million, right, for a murderer, the murderer that killed Gabby, right? If you go look it up and find out how much law enforcement spent to look for a murderer, right? And so when people ask me how $400,000 lasted you for 4 years, but then question about it, that's a problem to me, right? When you see all the things that I have tried to do and have done, I'm not perfect now. There's some things I could have done. I think I was talking to one of my logistic coordinator that once the other one left, he did both. He did logistics. I'm not gonna bring his name up, but he know who he is if he's listening. He said, David, all the money we've been spending on these equipment, we could have just bought them by then, right? And the argument was, okay, then we had to pay for maintenance, we had to pay for this, that, blah, blah, tax, the insurance and this and that, blah, blah. And so we end up continually renting these things out. This right here is called a razor. We call them razors. I always get a 4-seater, and I get 2 of these 4-seaters. And this is on the weekend now. They charge you for the weekend. You have to put a $1,000 deposit down. It's $495 a day for one, right? And I need sometimes I get two of these right here, 2 of the 4-seaters, and I may get 1 of the 2-seaters for my team in the command center. But most time we do 2 of the 4-seaters, right? So that's $495 times 2 every week, right? That's just for the razors. That's just for the razors. Then I have to the next thing I have to do is get one of these vehicles. One of my investigator, his team, Mr. McGrath loved this one for whatever reason, but his team would get the ones here. These what would you call these things? But they get those, right? And so that's cost me. It's not coming from Mr. McGrath. It's not coming from anybody else. It's coming from me. So you guys help, and they need to go out there and do their job. So I'm paying for these, and then you got to put insurance on those too, right? So long story short, this is cost for that's just that. But then I want everybody to understand also you got the cost of things like other things that I do. Like I say, again, keeping the volunteers safe. I had to buy the foods, the water, the tent, we had to get the canopy tents and things like that. So it make a long story, it's a lot. Not only that, to keep people on track, we have to do a lot of printing. I had to print a lot of stuff like the mapping and where you're going to be at, and the sign-in sheets, and I mean, it costs. There's a whole lot of. In other words, this was a big operation, right? It's an operation that I was able to put together. So I thank God for that, first of all. But it's an operation that actually costs money, right? So I'll be honest with you, when I get finished this, I'm really proud that $400,000 lasts me for going on 5 years, when law enforcement spend $1 million in one day, right? The Galtree family, and I want to say thank them for working on that family really, really hard, and I hope they do find her. I can tell you, in Daniel's case, I wasn't afforded that kind of help. I can tell you that in Daniel's case, I'm gonna put this up on the screen too. Of course, I have to beg for law enforcement to bring the FBI in, and they still to this day, and here it is, 2026, never came in. I'm gonna tell you a little bit of backdrop before I put this on the screen. I was out there in the desert. Mr. McGrath had taught me into carrying. I didn't want to carry any more weapons because of what happened to me in Afghanistan and stuff. I just wanted to get away from, weapons for a while, right? And so I had to carry. That's why you probably see some videos. You probably see these side pieces under my arm and leg or something. And I used to always carry my AR as well, right? And so, long story, in the desert, when I'm out there searching, people can tell you I carry AR sometimes. I carry sidearms. It's only because I had death threats. Could you imagine having death threats looking for your son out in the Sonoran Desert? So I was going through the death threat situation. I'll never forget, I was at Sam's Club getting logistics for the volunteers, electrolytes, stuff they need, granola bars type stuff, and drinks and sodas. And I get this text message, and that's where it first started. Started with that. It was a ransom, right? And I hear this saying that in the Gulfstream case, there's a ransom and things like that. There was a ransom in Daniel's case as well. They told me they had broken his legs. They had him under some house somewhere, like in the basement type deal, and they wanted money. To make a long story, and Mr. McGrath tried his best to find out who these people is. Went to the FBI. The FBI did nothing. They blamed it and said, "Oh, they got to get the Buckeye Police Department had to do it." They took a report. They told me the Buckeye Police Department had to invite them in. Buckeye Police Department to this day haven't done any of that. I started receiving the death threats through the emails. I don't know how they got my email, but they was personally watching me, saying things on my camera, on my computer. And so I have gotten no afforded help like I see in this case that's happening right now on national TV, because we all know it depends on who you are, how much money you got, what you look like. All those things really matter. But I didn't have that. I had you guys. You guys had helped me from day one. I'm just a man that came from South Carolina looking for my son. And I asked for help. I listened to my daughter. She told me about GoFundMe. If it wasn't for that, that was my lifeline. If it wasn't for that, y'all wouldn't probably even get to hear about Daniel Robinson. But you probably would, because I'm a person that's not going to give up. I'm a person that's going to keep fighting for me and mine, my son. Yes, I'm keep fighting. That's the reason why I was going hard as I was going. But the point is, I'm saying is, I'm going to put this on the screen really quick. And let's see, we're going to go through this. I hope you all can see this. Really, I'm just going to read it out to you guys. But this is a letter that I wrote to the Buckeye Police Department Chief Hall at the time, and this was in 2021, November 16th. It's the asking the FBI to come in my son's case, and like I said, to this date, they have not came into Daniel's case, and never probably would, because he's a young black male and he's not important. I can tell you a story, and the reason why I say that, because when I went to go talk to I forgot his name, but he was a person that the Buckeye Police Department at the time said did a case briefing, and I took Mr. Larnell Farmer with me. He was a NAACP guy, and at the time, but we went into. They knew it was coming. We talked to them and said we were coming up to the FBI field office in Phoenix. They wouldn't even let us in the building. They put us in the shed into some little room. And when the officer came, or the agent came, he came armed. He came armed with his 2 armed guards, and then he started yelling at me, like I'm a criminal or something, So it was that kind of attitude that let me know a lot about the field office, right, in the FBI. Though I had death threats, and though I had ransoms, right, that I had to get rid of. And the only way I was able to get rid of the ransom, and I really sometimes think about that, is that I asked the person for proof of life, and they couldn't give me proof of life. And then somehow they kept harassing me for a while, and then they finally just faded away. But nobody followed up on it. No law enforcement followed up on it. And I couldn't follow up on it because I don't have the way that law enforcement, the technology and things that they have to follow up on that kind of lead, right? They follow up on the things, and they wouldn't do it to this day. So those are kind of things that I had to deal with. But when I had to watch this person case right now, same situation, different people, different reaction, right? It bothers me. But anyway, to get back to this right here real quick, Chief Larry Hall. Get us Chief Larry Hall. My name is David Robinson, father of Geologist Daniel Robinson, who were missing within your jurisdiction in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona. just off of Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road. Daniel, a geologist, works for Matrix New World, Matrix South of Groundwater is another name for it. In Phoenix, Arizona, he was assigned work at the well site located in the desert of Buckeye, and arrived at the location around 9 o'clock a.m. Based on the police report and detectives of the Buckeye Police Department, I was told that the last person that saw my son had any contact with my son was a man named Ken Elliott. I understand the case developed by the case developed by your department with my son. Oh, sorry. Let me go back. You guys going a little too fast. I understand the case developed by your department of my son Daniel Cornelius Robinson is based and framed around the statement and account of said Ken Elliott. Okay, I further understand that the case referenced opinions of co-workers and others of Daniel's mental state leading up to his disappearance, none of which are licensed and trained to diagnose his mental state. They all use odd, which is not a diagnosis, right? And so I said Daniel has been missing for nearly 5 months under suspicious circumstances that you, Chief Hall, agreed on the interview with CNN. According to Kenneth Elliott, those suspicious circumstances involved Daniel driving off without a plan into the deeper part of the desert on June 23rd of 2021. According to the report, even with extensive searches performed by your department, his Jeep Renegade was not in that area for almost 30 days. According to the recorded verbal and in-person testimony of the rancher that found my son's Jeep, the vehicle was not at the location 2 or 3 days before July the 19th, 2021. The statement by the rancher Brandon Shelton should be entered into the police report since he's an eyewitness to when the vehicle was found and the suspicious nature of the date. And I want to stop real quick because that kind of got me to this date. The Buckeye Police Department refused to put Mr. Shelton's statement into that police report, right? Because it don't fit their narrative. They wanted to be missing his vehicle, be out there for 30 days for whatever reason. There are unsolved questions about the Jeep and how it was found. It's found its way into that ravine. Mr. McGrath, 3 Laws Recon, and Joseph V. Cantone, Buckeye Police Department private investigator, agree that the excess of 40 initial cycles is unexplainable. However, Mr. Cantone's investigation lacks the first-hand look at my son's Jeep, but is based on physical evidence and analysis given to him by a third party. With the conflict in how the vehicle got into the location, explanations remain unanswered about the clothing found about 3 feet away from the Jeep that belongs to Daniel. The clothing can quickly be ruled as being worn by my son the day he went missing. If of course, you guys, if they did the forensics, the safety vest and description given by Mr. Elliott of what he was wearing that day confirmed that. However, without evidence of change of clothes, we cannot rely on assumptions. Based on that, it's very suspicious that, and it may be even criminal, that Dan's clothing that he wore that or the day he went missing was found with the vehicle almost 30 days after. And I think of what I was thinking at the time, you guys, and I want to back this up. What I was thinking at the time is before now, I say, you know what, the clothing don't belong to Daniel when we start looking at it as a family. But what I would say back then, I was thinking like, okay, if he was missing for 30 days, the clothing, well, he was wearing those clothing for 30 days, those type things. So that's the kind of thing I was thinking at the time. So I want to go back to this really quick and I'll finish this. As you know, I have been conducting weekly searches aided by citizens, volunteers of Buckeye, Arizona, and places all over the state and country. In my search for my son, we have uncovered human remains and other items that have that may have have a connection to what happened to my son. And I want to stop that really quick. And I want to say that was part of when we were we found some clothing in the same manner that those clothing was found on the crime scene. They say belongs to Daniel. Near the well site, we found someone else's clothing, pants and shirt and everything in a pile. But it's a larger person, larger male. Was found in the same manner. You guys don't see that in the police report. Like I said, Buckeye is really selective what they talk about to you guys and what they put in the report. These are things you haven't heard because at the time we were thinking it's a serial killer out there in the desert. So and that was and so some of those things and also finding the human remains. So that's part of that what you guys reading right there. I formally request that you call the FBI to investigate my son's disappearance and investigate the death threats I received while searching for my son. Although I understand that you may not have the resources to investigate or don't see a reason to investigate my son's disappearance, I'm asking you to allow the FBI to determine if the investigation is warranted or not. My son's case needs to be looked into further based on things that I pointed out above and your agreement on its suspicions and unexplained nature. I hope you agree that inviting an outside agency into your jurisdiction can allow a fresh set of eyes to determine if indeed a crime has happened. I appreciate your attention in this matter. Sincerely, David Robinson, II, Father. So I wrote that because, and so when I did write that, you guys, a little time after that, the Buckeye Police Department, Chief Hall did what they call as a case briefing with the FBI, right? I had an attorney at the time, and she actually asked them for that case briefing as well. And so he responded back, said, yes, he's going to have a case briefing. I was really happy about that. I even talked about that in one of my family press conference to the public. Hey, look, yeah, I was all excited, and I did the press conference in the desert. And I was telling people that, the FBI coming to the case. Everybody's been asking that for a long time. And so what ended up happening is the Buckeye Police Department at the time, I'll be honest, I had that gut feeling because I didn't really had that trust with Buckeye because they started fading off that trust. But my attorney, she told me that, just let him, we put the request in, give him some time, right? I was anxious, and I promised you to be in a couple of days later, I get a call from Detective Biffin, who told me they already had a case briefing without me because she immediately had wrote them, right? Asked them for their questions. She also asked them to make sure I'm part of that case briefing. Even if she can't be a part of it, they don't want her as attorney to be there. Mr. Robinson need to be there. That's his child and his son's case, right? And they did it behind my back. To make a long story, the Buckeye Police Department did it behind my back. They didn't invite me in. They had the case briefing. Detective Biffin called me and told me, oh, yeah, we already had the case briefing. And the FBI said that you, Mr. Robinson, are doing such a great job on your own. We don't need to come in. That was my explanation. I'm not even making that up. And so that was really devastating because I already told the public it was coming in. So like I said, when I see what's happening in this case that's happening right now that's going national, I really, it hurts. I mean, you can only imagine, like I said, again, I always pray for every family to get the attention they should and get the urgency they should and get that kind of thing because they find answers that way, right? But then when I think about stuff like this, and I had to show you guys a letter that was written in 2022, in 2021, November the 16th, 2021, and I to date don't have the FBI in my son's case. To date, I don't have the Justice Department. To date, I don't have certain things. Nobody's really put that kind of efforts, but then people are patting law enforcement on the back and say they did a great job. They do a great job for this person. But if they would have did that in the Guthrie case, for instance, right now, no one in history would say that's a good job that law enforcement done if they did the exact same thing they did in Daniel Robinson's case, right? So on national TV, and the great part is I can tell you guys, and I say this to a lot of families, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to get Daniel's case on a national stage. and it wasn't easy. And I'm telling you guys, I even get offended by this. The Petito family is a friends of mine. Uh, what's happening though is Daniel's case being. I've been out there for 3 months before Gabby went missing, right? And I was out there pushing really hard. Nicole Griggs and Josh Sanders was the two first reporters to even take Daniel's story local. That's the Phoenix I'm talking about, right? And then it kind of that helped with me getting something on radio station. They helped me with I forgot the other gentleman's name, but that's local stuff, right? And I pushed that hard. That was like 2 weeks after Daniel went missing. But then it took me 3 whole months to get Daniel. I was working. I mean, when I say I was working the guys, I was working the social media. I was working the celebrities. I was working all that every night after I come up that desert on the weekdays. So I'm telling you guys, it wasn't just a weekend search. On the weekdays, out there trying to do 2 things, local interviews. At nighttime, I was always on social media, trying my best, building up that social media page, build up that website, trying to get everybody to look at Daniel's case, and it actually worked. There was a young lady that took that Daniel's story, and she saw a post that I put. She retweeted a post I put up, and it went viral. When it went viral, they helped me out with more eyes on Daniel's case. They said, "Hey," she said something to the effect of, "Have y'all even considered this Daniel Robinson that went missing?" Right, and that helped. And then the other part was, and I'm gonna tell you, families, right now, if you have missed a loved one, this was my technique, and I hope you guys can use it. When Daniel went missing, I was looking for the celebrities to help me, right? I mean, all of them. And so what I've been doing at night is I was looking for that blue star, the notoriety thing. Of course, their celebrity page. So I go on their page and I look at their friends. And I don't look at their friends with the star on it. I look at their friends without it, right? And I was blowing them up. Not them. Like if I wanted Joy Reid, I'm using her as an example, but that's exactly what happened. I blowing up her friends, blowing it up. And then sure enough, her friend brought Daniel's case to her attention. That's when she was talking about the white woman syndrome. And it was at the same time when Gabby went missing. And so that put Daniel's case on a higher enough platform. So when that happened, it was pulled up, right? And so, but it took a lot of hard work. It wasn't like this case you see right now, where some people all they had to do is make a phone call, or they can, or they just got a name and just go all over the place. No, I had to work for that. 3 months, had to work for it. And so what I'm saying is, we got to think about that. So I had all of that going on at the same time, trying to conduct the search, trying to do everything I can to keep my son searching, and asking you guys to donate and fund. And something like I said, I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect by any stretch. There could have been some better ways to do things. Like I said, we had to look conversation about maybe I could have bought the equipment instead of continuing to rent them. But then we look at the cost effectiveness, and it's probably pretty much the same, right? So it could be some things that I could have done a lot better. I'm not gonna say I'm just perfect, but I did the best what I can with everything else going on. I did the best I can. So that's what this is all about, to talk about those things too. All right, let me see if I got one more thing I want to share. I think I was there. Let me go back on the screen. Okay, that's just a picture of the vehicle. But yeah, but definitely I had to also use the pickup truck too. This picture's so small, that pickup truck. I tried to get let me put my face up here, but I tried to get a better picture of U-Haul, just give you a sense, you guys, what I'm talking about. But this is one of the razors I use when I bring it back. It's usually dirty. They clean it. But this is pretty much a picture, I'm sure, when I was bringing it back to the ATV place where I was getting this equipment. But definitely I always had to also rent a U-Haul every week to pull those vehicles, right? The ATV shop where I've been renting this stuff out, this equipment at, they give you the trailer for free. If you depending on if you're renting like I did 2 or more, and I've been renting out so many of these side by sides at one time, they was giving me those things like the trailer. Hey, yeah, you can have the trailer, take that for free. But I had to have a vehicle to pull the trailer, and that was the U-Haul. But that was also the cost, you guys, when I was outside the desert. I clean up pretty good, right? If you was look at me in the desert and look at me on this picture, you wouldn't be able to tell that I probably just came out of the desert dirty, right? I had to clean up pretty good and go out to places like ASU, Arizona State University, when I did spoke with them as well. and also other events. This places just going to take care of things and being a part of everything I can to try to get awareness about Daniel's case. Some places pay for that trip, for instance, but I had to pay for other parts, like the flyers to get out there, and I had to pay for my food, or I pay for certain little things. So there's also been costs, like things that have been going on with the costs as well. And let's see here. Then if you go to the billboards, I thought I had someone to call it, but anyway, I have the billboards, you guys, from the east side of Phoenix to the west side, and even in the center, in the center section of Phoenix as well, going out towards Arizona. Billboards. I can't say Lamar gave me a great deal, but it costs money. It costs money to do this stuff, right? So when somebody say, "Well, where did $400,000 go?" It went on doing stuff, right? Everything I've been talking about so far. Billboards everywhere. Also events, putting events together. Though I had like the Day of Remembrance events, I had to pay for that. You had to pay for permits. You had to pay for certain things to have these events. And these events wasn't just for Daniel. It was for Daniel to bring awareness. That's what it was, a Day of Remembrance. You really hear say an event to recognize missing persons, families, friends. Please help, join us, right? And it was not about just Daniel. Yes, it's based on my son because he's missing. It's my son. He comes first. He's my first priority. But I always make sure I include other families on anything I do. I even just had an event here in Columbia, South Carolina last year, a kind of like Vigil for Daniel. And we had some families there to talk. It's never a selfish thing for me to just say, hey, look, I'm just doing something for Daniel. That's not it. So your funding been going towards that too, to help other families too. So that's another one. Kind of like visuals, like I said. Made a Crime Con played for the whole entire trip. But while I was there, and I can tell you guys, when I was in Vegas, it was the first time I ever been in Vegas in my life. No, I take that back. I used to drive trucks, and I used to drive through Vegas, and I used to make sure I get through Vegas before I stopped in it. I didn't ever want to stop in Vegas because there's too much lights and stuff when I was driving trucks. I want to get somewhere I can park my truck and sleep. And so I used to always drive through Vegas, never stop. But what I'm saying is I was there for a Crime Con. And when I was there in Crime Con, you could ask my team. My team drove while Crime Con flew me from Phoenix to Vegas. And then what they had in the back of their vehicle, boxes. And when I say boxes of flyers. And we worked the hell out of that script. So when I say that in a minute, I kind of laugh about it because I got out thousands. And when I say thousands of flyers, boy, that was the best time of getting those flyers out there. All those tourists that was there. I got so many flyers out that night. Once the nighttime part of Crime Con, yes, I can tell you, those flyers went everywhere. I'll just put it that way. And so, airport, when I'm in the airport, those little back of your seats in those airports, or when you're waiting in the airport terminal, flyers are all over the place. So I'm saying, so the demand of flyers was really high. And when I showed you all those costs, those are things I was paying for. Storage unit. Daniel's vehicle, I covered the name up because I have to, because the storage facility is a secure facility, and I'm sure other people got their stuff there. But I had to pay $720 every 3 months for Daniel's storage of the vehicle, and not including the public storage that his other things was part of. So what I'm saying, you guys, when people ask me where the $400-some-thousand, I will say it too, like, man, time went so fast. I just know we had to take care of everything, right? When I say we, and I have a team, the A team, who helped me out a lot, we have to take care of things, right? So long story short, so when I ask people and I say, hey, look, the other day I said, look, I have $70,000 debt. Most families, if you go Google that as well, go into debt looking for their missing loved one, right? And if you did it the way I have done it, though, for 50 long weeks, you've been putting events together. You've been putting thousands of flyers out. Just everything. I can go over everything again, but if you're doing all of that, you don't think it's going to be $400,000. It should be more, I think, because if law enforcement take $1 million in a few days to find a murderer, $400,000, I think it was a very good use of things that we have been doing. But I can't tell you, I had to take money out of my own pocket. So when you see me leave out of Phoenix, because that means the GoFundMe was, I mean, people's donating, you guys still was donating, but it's not donating fast enough in a certain way that would keep me, sustain me in Arizona. So I had to leave Arizona. And that's not donating in a certain way that's going to continue to keep me doing a whole lot of other things, but I'll do the best I can. So I had to start taking fun of myself. When I want to have events, like I went out on the last weekend to a Missing American event, and I had to pay out of my own pocket, right? Some parts of that, right? So what I'm saying is not, I just got to, I'm not doing anything for David. That's what I'm saying. I haven't been on, and I say this before in the live stream. When I say this is God honest truth. I hadn't been on a vacation before the time we all had to stay at home because of COVID, right? We was all forced to stay at home. The last time I've been on a vacation was before that. After that, we finally, at least from the COVID epidemic, to go do some stuff, and then Daniel go missing. And I ain't been on vacation since. So if anybody somehow thinking somehow I'm enjoying my life and I'm living my best life, no, I'm not. I even have people in my household right now that will say, you come back from Arizona and then you go run for Congress. What you running for Congress for? To help get legislation pushed to help missing American families. That's why I wrote the Daniel Robinson law. That's why I wrote that law, and that's the reason why I tried to push it. I ran in 2024 to get it in Congress, try to make it a national law. But then that's why it's sitting right now in the State House in South Carolina, because I had to rewrite it to fit South Carolina's law, and hopefully it passed. And I really need y'all support. So please go to pleasehelpfinddanielrightnow.com and sign that petition. But what I'm saying is not about me. Nothing I have done so far is about me. Because if it was about me, I'll be honest with you, I was saying my son would not be missing, and I'll be on a beach somewhere with my foot in the water down in Florida because it's too cold up here where I'm at now. So, but it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about everybody who's listening to me, everybody who I'm trying my best to help. I get called names, and you guys can imagine running for office, and we're so polarized in this country. You tell them what party affiliation is, and it depends on what you say. It's all kind of crap being called. Despite they could be the same, they can look at the same person, the man who's really fighting for his son, but then they'll call you something else other than a child of God. So it's just the way the country is. It's all messed up, right? So what I'm saying is, I did this tonight. I'm about to jump off though, but I had to do this to defend myself because I heard it before. And I try to ignore the noise, right? When someone comes to me and try to question my integrity or who I am as a person, my sincerity, it took me a while to ask everybody for help. When I say, "Oh, y'all got a $70,000 debt," I mean it's a fact, it's a truth, right? And it didn't come from me just for nowhere. It came from me fighting for my son, and so I just asked for a hand. I just asked for a hand and a help, and then I got the comment that I received from that one person. Where has all the money gone? You keep asking, and let's be real first. So I don't have to go back over it again, but that's not the first one. I know it's not going to be my last time seeing, that type stuff. But I just want to say up front, I put that post up, that GoFundMe up. This specifically for me is 2 GoFundMes now. One specifically for me to help me get past this debt. The other one is still there to continue work that I'm doing for my son, because I'm still doing everything I can, you guys. So what I'm saying is, it really, really hurts when I can tell you guys, I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's not easy to go up there and say, put yourself out there in public and say, "Hey, I need a helping hand" or something. That's not easy, but not easy, not by easy stretch, right? So what I'm saying is, that's what I had to do. And some people say, "Yeah, you shouldn't have to go do that." But you know what? I feel like this. I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to defend my son like I do with him with honor. I'm still going to defend Daniel. I don't care what people say. I even had Mr. McGrath, and I'm gonna tell you real quick how Mr. McGrath went away from my campaign, from my services, right? Everybody can tell you I've worked so hard. People's begging me to come home for Christmas, right? I'll never forget that. I didn't want to leave because I felt if I left, then I'm dropping the ball and law enforcement would drop Daniel's case or something. That's how I felt, right? So it was hard to get me out of Arizona. And it took my mother to ask me to come home. And Mr. McGrath was one of them. David, I got this. I'm handling it for you. My turn is, we got this. We're going to take care of this for you while you're gone. That was a hard choice, but and I can tell you, I made it here to South Carolina, and I mean, it's been, I've probably been here half a day, and I had News Nation call me. Hey, Mr. Robinson, can you do his live interview? I say, sure. Any opportunity to get Daniel's case out there, right? I jump on it, right? So she called me, and I'm going to tell you the host name. You can go look at the interview. But anyway, she called me, and they set it up with me to do the interview that day. And so it was. I told them I already left Arizona, and I'm here in South Carolina. And so when I was doing the virtual event, live with them, I got blindsided. I really did. I got blindsided. I was sitting there looking at because from our angle, I don't know if anybody ever been on interviews before, and even if you're doing it on your computer, you actually can watch the show until you hear the producer coming to you and say, hey, now we got 30 seconds away or we got a minute away, and we bring you on and things like that. So I'm watching the show, and then when they did the introduction, she says, yes, possible PCP and blah, 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 and so about Daniel case. I'm like, so I was shocked, like, PCP? Right, where'd that come from, And so she came on. First thing she asked me, yeah, Mr. McGrath says it could be possible PCP and something, I'm like, oh my God, in my mind. But, I'm a really good person at reacting to things really fast, calmly, without showing you that what's going on in my mind. And so I had to defend Daniel. So make a long story, I make sure I brush that off exactly what it really is. It's a theory. Sometimes people can take theories as facts. We say the Great Bang Theory is a fact. It's not a fact. It's a theory. Theories are not facts, right? Yes, it's okay to have a theory, and it's a job for a private investigator to have a theory to go follow. It's almost like a lead. It's okay to go check a lead to make sure this is not so. But when you go, but what happens if you're a private investigator and you go out on the news and you say those words, people are going to take it and run with, especially the news people, right? They look for something. And so I called Mr. McGrath. I was pissed. I'll be honest, I was really upset. Hi, what is PCP stuff? What is that? What is this PCP stuff? I just kind of say, I ain't saying that's what it is, but I'm just saying blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? But people will run with that and say, oh, maybe he's on drugs. My son is not on. Now, my son did smoke marijuana. I can tell you guys that. So, but the thing is, I had to defend him. And so I told Mr. McGrath, I say, look, from now on, I would do all the interviews. You just do what your job is, and that's an investigator. Just do your investigative job. And when I said that, he said, well, as today, I'm no longer your investigator. And that's how that ended. And I promise you guys, when he did that, I was on the next flight back. I mean, I ain't been home a day. I've been a half day, and I flew right back to go get all of Daniel's things from his office. I didn't tell him I was coming. I went on American Airlines really quick. As soon as that phone hung up, and I got back to Arizona and got his stuff. Went to his office to get his things. But anyway, long story. That's the end of that. So you guys, now you know. But the thing is, I feel that when you have to go through what I have, my family and I have gone through, and everybody who ever missed a loved one probably can attest to this. You can go through a lot of stuff. I mean, with the public, with investigators. Like I said at an event again last weekend, people take advantage of you. They can, man. They know that we're going through stuff, and we're not always thinking clearly. We're emotional, and we look for help, and we think that anything since a sliced bread is help for us. And then people are really, really trying to hurt you or take advantage of you. They're out there. You guys wouldn't imagine how many investigators that I met, even to this day, still they run. And some of them, I think they're probably good people, and they probably wonder why I don't call them back, because I have trust issues with private investigators when it comes to, find out their real intents are, right? Because I had some private investigators that came, I mean, man, out the woodwork. I mean, and they can get you. I know it cost me $21,000. I can tell you that for trusting. So you got to be careful about things. So, um, I just want to say that to families. Just be what I said to the families the weekend is find someone in your family who can do what I have done. And I'm not boosting myself up. What I'm saying is, I'm so happy to be right here, this world here, a warrior. The first thing they call us when I joined the Army and I was in basic training, they call you warriors first before you become a soldier. And so I remember that. But anyway, but you're a warrior. And so find someone in your family who can actually be that warrior. And when I say that, be a person that can take the punches and, be level-headed because you're going to need it. And you have to have somebody who's going to be recording everything. I mean, you talk to law enforcement, I mean, you got to know their name, the time you talk to them. And if it's a one-party state, do like I do, record yourself talking to them. You got to keep those records. I still got everything. And you keep those records, you keep those receipts because you never know you need them, because I sure enough need them, and I got them. And I didn't know I was going to need them, but I got things because you record and you do everything you can, not because you trying to be mean, but you have to protect yourself and you have to defend yourself in every area that you can. Again, tonight, I want to defend my son, his honor, the Robinson family, our integrity, the kind of persons that we are, God-fearing, God-loving, really nice people. And at the same time, I'm defending myself personally from people who don't understand that, you know what, it took a lot of me to come out to the public and say, hey, look, I need a helping hand. I need help, right? And, before Daniel went missing, again, I didn't have to ask anybody for anything. And it's not a bragging, it's a fact, right? It's a fact because I've been okay. But then Daniel went missing. I had to go all out because I'm a father. But then you find out, it'll burn you. It really hurt you. But I wouldn't. But to be honest with you, if it take me have to do it again for my son, I'll do it many times over, and I have no regrets of that. What I'm saying is, it's just that I just ask for help, and then I have to get the comment. I feel like this: if you're a person who just think of money somehow, some funny way, or somebody's always out doing something mean or dirty or whatever the case may be, don't support them. I mean, but don't say nothing to them. Just don't say nothing at all. I mean, it could have took easy for the woman to not say nothing at all. Just don't support me. Don't donate to me. That's what I say. I'm just asking anybody who can help. That's all I ask. And those who want to do it, they will. Nobody's saying, hey, you better not. Let them determine if they want to believe what I'm saying or try to help me. It's not that person's call. So, if you donate money, you say, hey, and that's another reason why I did it as well. I want to say this really quick too. I did it because I had to think positive too. Now I had to put on the positive side of things, and I had to say, look, there may be some people who are really cautious about where they put their money. So they put their money somewhere. Yes, I have the answer to that. So that's why I try to answer the best way I can tonight. Answer to yes, you put your money there. And I said I was doing this all in you, even though you see me on the news and doing all this and see me videos walking in the desert and Dateline out there in the desert with me. If you still don't believe that was true and you want to get receipts to that, I tell you and I'll show you, right? So that's basically what I did. So make a long story short, that's it. And I really thank everybody that came in tonight. And I do have a few more comments I'm throwing on here, and then I'm gonna jump off. Let's see, make sure I get all of this off. But then I'll just jump off everybody, and I really thank everybody who joined in on this live stream tonight, because you didn't have to do it. Spend your time with me again. I really appreciate that. Lucia, thanks so much. I'm watching, listening, and supporting you, Ms. Ross. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And again, these kind words, it helps me out mentally. It helps people. Morally, all that stuff. Mel, thanks so much. Good evening. I still think about Daniel often. Often. And so, yes, and I think about him every day too. Mel, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Come from the YouTube side. You say good evening again. I really appreciate you thinking about my son. I truly appreciate that. Linda, thanks so much for being here. We stand with you 100%. We're stationed at Fort Hood, and my son was born there. Okay, yes. Fort Hood was well, Clean, Texas was an interesting place. I'll just put it that way. Thank you for your service, and our children are the most precious people in our lives. We keep Daniel and your family in our daily prayers. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. A real quick note though about Clean. When I just thought about it when you said it again. People don't know we lose up more soldiers in Clean, Texas, Fort Hood than we do in the war. So people have to think about that too, right? And it's for different reasons, for like suicide mostly, and things like that. So, but anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Garcia. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I don't live far from there. Thanks so much again, Mel. Thank you so much, Mary Ellen. Greetings to you. Thank you, Lincoln. I've been praying for you and your son. Thanks so much. I truly appreciate the prayers. I believe in prayer. So, are you going to do any more searches? And I tell people this, Mel, Santi, I've said like this. There's a lot of places, believe it or not, even after 50 weeks of searches that we didn't get to search, right? And so what I did is heavily concentrate on areas that they was putting this new development at, right? And the reason why, because I knew that once they tear it up, some things get buried forever, right? And so when I go out to the desert now, for instance, I see that development. They put new roads out there, and sometimes I still wonder, like, what if we missed something? Now they got pavement over it, right? But there's some areas that need to be searched, and I can't say that, right? That I haven't been able to touch. And then I was able to touch, but wasn't able to get line searches done. And those line searches without the equipment that law enforcement have always find human remains. And I can prove that. And the facts of that is, you name one time the Buckeye Police Department says, Daniel been missing. You can't name one time that law enforcement even found their own hands in front of their face. They haven't found no human remains. They haven't found the human skull. They haven't found the 46 initial cycles on the vehicle. I mean, they haven't found nothing, right? And so what I'm saying is, to go back to the search part, though, those line searches is what help us find those human remains. The hasty searches, what we're doing as well, help us find some human remains. But that stuff that the law enforcement doing did not yield anything, right? And they had cadaver dogs and searched all they claimed. But going out to the search again, I did one in April last year. That's April the 12th last year. And the way I stand right now is, first of all, what really hinders me is trying to, again, you guys, you got to understand this. This is truth. A lot of times I backed out because I don't want to ask people for more funding, because people look at the dollar sign, they look at that 400,000 and they think that somehow it's sitting in the bank. Somebody like, it ain't never been used, because GoFundMe don't short like that. So the last time I had to actually open up, and somebody that person that said that alluded to that, I had to open up a separate bank account, because I said, well, nobody's donating more to this 400,000 account, GoFundMe, because they're thinking it must be just money sitting there, because it says 400,000, not counting what actually happened. So I said, there's new people that want to donate. They'll see that and say, well, he don't need no money, right? So you open up another GoFundMe that says specifically for the search, in a sense, right? In hopes that people look at it that way and say, okay, now I get it. I'm going to donate just for the search, right? And that'll help me. So that helped me for the April the 12th search. So I was able to get enough. I think I asked for, during that time, I asked for like 12 grand, because I already know how much it's going to cost me, because I've been doing this for 50 weeks. At the time, I didn't know it was going to be 50 weeks, because even Joseph Petito, Gabby's dad, he called me and came to that search. And so, I knew how much basically I needed, but I think I was like short by 2 grand, but I made it work. I worked the hell out of it too. I was able to, when I say I worked the hell out of it, I was able to do everything I said I do. You can ask the A-team will tell you, that's like, man, you try to cram all of that up in a few days? Yes, I do. Every time I go there, I take the little money I get, and I cram it all together and make whatever I need to do happen, right? I mean, I know I ain't gonna get no sleep that week, but I'm gonna make whatever I do. That's when I talked to the Buck out that week, and I told them, they told me, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna do it." I said, "No, this is gonna have to happen this week. You know, everything, this transfer, custody transfer, all this had to happen this week because I leave Sunday. I have no money to come back here, right, for right now." So I was able to get it accomplished. But what I'm saying is, for me to have to go through all that kind of stress, asking people all the time, ask people's help and things like that. I said, tell people, look, if I have another search, I literally have to have somebody to call me and say, I know your son is right over here, in this desert, or this happened and this. I need something really concrete, right? That make me go back into the area because it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pain every time I go out there. And I'm telling you something. I did it for 50 weeks is amazingly, but that desert is intimidating. It's very intimidating. You think you're done, and then you got more, right? Very intimidating. And then when you go out there, you think you'll get a lot of volunteers this week. You might get 30 people. We can't search but so much, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot that comes with that, and then the organization of that and putting things together, keep people safe, and I mean it's a lot. I'll just put it that way. And so I cautiously say when I'm ever going to do a search again, and I just wait. I just let God tell me that if something happened, if you ever hear me say that, Mel, oh, I'm having a search on. That's why. Trust me, it's a real reason. It's a real reason why that had happened. I mean, there's a reason now to do it. But what I'm saying is a real reason, meaning that I must have got something really hard that I need to go check, right? And put me in an exact place to go look. So, but anyway, thanks so much for that question. Hope Reigns, thank you so much again. Let's see, on Star Record. I'll try to get you off before I jump off. On Star Record, every stop. Yeah. If you're asking about that equipment that Daniel had in his car, yeah, law enforcement told me, and they told, of course, to back up a little bit. First thing families asked for is cell phone pings. Everybody carried a cell phone. They claimed they couldn't get there without a warrant because it's not a criminal case, and that's what Daniel's law is going to change that. And also, we asked for camera footage. They couldn't produce anything. They claim the cameras are turned off somehow. All the cameras in Arizona turned off on the intersections, but they'll give you that speeding ticket. If a bank robber robbed a bank, I guarantee the FBI and the police department get that money though, and they'll know what the man ate the day before on his lunch break or something, right? But when it comes to missing America, somehow the cameras will happen to be off or something. And then they give us a picture of him driving to California to see his sister. And they was looking for that because that matched the story that my daughter gave them one time. He just drove up to California to go see his sister, and he was surprising her. He got halfway there before he called her and said, "Hey, I'm coming to your house." So they try to give it I guess a way to say, "Oh yeah, he just takes off or something." That narrative, to try to feed that narrative, right? But anyway, then it came to that you say OnStar, but he had a thing called Uconnect. It's like an OnStar. They first told us, "Oh, we can't get any information for that," or we're gonna get it. We're gonna talk to the OnStar folks or whatever. Then they end up coming back saying, "Well, they ain't got nothing because they had 0 grids." And what that mean? Literally, they told me OnStar said that somebody had to actually tamper with the device. That means they damaged it. The OnStar, not OnStar, the Uconnect, they damaged the device, or they disconnected the vehicle's battery. Right? That's what they told me. But then they changed and say, "Oh, it's all 0 grids," and they couldn't get the information because Daniel didn't have no account or something to that effect. They changed it, So that's a law enforcement to take of that. But yeah, we couldn't get anything from that vehicle that would give a lot of information at that time. They love records. They keep records for years. Yes, they do. And to help y'all understand real quick before I jump off about Daniel Robinson's law. Not Daniel's law, because there's a Daniel's law out there, not Daniel Robinson's law. But Daniel Robinson's law, and that I pushed, that I wrote is to help families and law enforcement with better tools. Again, one of the biggest things that we have right now to date is no cell phone pings. You see that in police record limited cell phone ping stuff they claim with Buckeye. That's why I got it for your report, because I'm gonna show you guys some stuff that, you know, because we had meetings, and that's why I say Buckeye put things in their report and they do things based on what I said in public. They told me they watched my Q&As and they watched my live streams and stuff like that. And so when I said, all of a sudden they managed to come up with XYZ explanation, right? I call it covering your behind. I'm about to say the other word, and I know my auntie probably watching. But anyway, covering yourself. And so what I want to say is Daniel Robinson's law, how I want to say this, it put the power back into the people's hand, right? Your data, your phone, your ownership of everything that's collected by these telecommunication companies, those things belong to you, and free it up, and they'll tell you have to have a warrant, and it don't make sense when it comes to you have law enforcement involved and all this kind of, I'm telling the telecommunication companies, when I was in the meeting with them, say, oh, we give somebody the data, let's say one of them came up with some hypothetical, give the data to some man, and now he know where his wife is, and he gonna murder them. He gonna murder her or something to that effect. I mean, that's ludicrous. I mean, the problem was that first of all, it's a hypothetical. I mean, I said it can't happen, but what I'm saying is, in a situation where you have a missing American loved one, you're first of all reporting that person missing. So everything is going through law enforcement. It's not they saying, hey, they'll tell you so you can go get this person. No, they're giving this information to law enforcement so they can go get this person, go find this person. I have one of my investigators that you guys don't know. Y'all have heard of one investigator missing a graph, and I'm going to leave it that way, but I had two others in Daniel's case. And he told me a story about this other one. He told me a story about when he was a police officer, there was someone missing, a wife, husband was missing, and so she put in a missing person report. They immediately went to go look for the gentleman. They ended up finding him in a hotel. Make a long story, I ain't gonna get the full detail, but they found him at a hotel. Right? No, the story sound bad, right? Oh, they found him at a hotel. No, he was at a hotel by himself. There wasn't a woman involved. He wasn't cheating on his wife and all that stuff. But he was missing for a good while, for several days. But they found him at a hotel, and when they approached the man and talked to him, say, hey, your wife reported you missing. He told him, hey, look, I just need to be alone. I don't want to deal with my wife. I don't deal with nobody. I don't want nobody to know where I live, where I'm at, and all that stuff. And guess what? The law enforcement went back to the wife and told her just that. Your husband, we located him. He's fine. He just want to be by himself. And that's what anybody asks. Everybody have a right to, if they want to be by themselves, if they have a right to deal with nobody if they want to. But what I think is proper if a person can let a person know they're okay, though. But what I'm saying is, it's almost like the same thing with Daniel Robinson law. Law enforcement can have a new tool to help locate a person quickly, right? And so I asked you guys when I put it out so you guys can read it and understand what it is, but it put the power back into the person who owns this data and things like that. Also, it requires retention time, because a lot of these telecommunication companies, they hide behind retention. And there's another problem I got with that. But I'm out to push that legislation a little, because what the problem is I have on that is that we all know that no matter what you put on your computer, your phone, whatever on their servers, on all of the stuff, it never ever disappear unless that whole building blow up. It never ever disappear. Nothing ever disappear. Your cell phone, none of that stuff never disappear. We already know that. Only thing you have ever done, if you delete something from your phone, delete something from your computer, only thing you did is destroy the bridge to get to it. It's still there. You just can't get to it because you push the word delete. When you put that delete, the only thing you did is blew the bridge up. That gets you back to that same picture that you don't like no more, for instance. But it's still there. And it's still there with the telecommunication company when it comes to to cell phone pings is still there. They're talking about the retention time. They don't have it no more. Yes, they do. They just need to build a new bridge to get it. And so the same thing with FBI doing your phone, your computer. If you delete something and you think it's gone forever, no, it's not. They're just going to get in your computer, build a new bridge to get to it. And that's it. Simple as that. So we know that. And trust me, I'm also a computer engineer major. So, but anyway, Brandy, thanks so much for being here. David, you don't owe answers to anyone. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You're a shining example of a father. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're a shining example of a father who is trying to move mountains for his child. I don't know how anyone could possibly question what you have or have not spent money on, because one thing is absolutely clear. You have tirelessly looked for Daniel. It takes money and lots of it. I'm going to go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Miss Lewis. I'm going to donate right now, and then I'm going to say another prayer for you. Get to. Excuse me, this is kind of hard. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Prayer that you get to bring your sweet boy home and get answers that your family and for your family and Daniel. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it, Mrs. Lewis. I truly appreciate that. God bless you for that. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, it's hard, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Miss Mel. Yes, the death threats there. Yes, I'll probably go on, but these messages are delayed. So I really thank everybody for your comments. I'm trying to go through them all before I end this live stream. But yes, the death threats was there. Thank God I don't know if they're still there or not, but they just stopped. I'll just put it that way. And so thank God for that part. But the most so for me, I was so concerned about myself, more so the fact that they claimed that they had my son and broke his legs and all that kind of stuff. And then I didn't have anybody to this date, the FBI, Buckeye Police Department. I even went to the Justice Department. I had meetings, you guys, with the Attorney General's office and like I said, the Justice Department. And I sat with Mr. Brown, Attorney General. I mean, one of the attorneys for the Justice Department. Eating lunch with him, talking about it. And he trying to peek his head in to see what Buckeye did. And it seemed like to me, all law enforcement agencies, and that's why it's hard for me to get that full trust, because even with all of that, the big federal part of things, even after all of that, they still give themselves a pat on the back when their actions look nowhere near to what's happening in the Guthrie case right now. With the same thing, I told someone here at home, and I say what really hurts me, and I can't even look at the TV, and I want to look at it so bad when I hear the story. I can't look at the details. I just only can look at the fact that the woman is missing, and the family need to find her quick, and whoever's responsible for it need to be prosecuted and put in, to brought to justice on that. Right? That's all I want to think about. Because if I had to look at the news and I had to hear the details, oh, the FBI doing this, oh, they are following this because of blah, blah, blah. And then it sounds so familiar to my son's case. And it's the exact same thing that happened. But nobody took anything towards near to what they're doing for this case, right? Period. And so it bothers me. And I'm not saying it just for Daniel's case, but I know it happened to many other families' case, because I talk to families all the time. I talk to them all the time, and it happens to everybody. So it depends on your name. It depends on what you look like and where you come from. Because if you don't have certain those things lined up that way, you can best forget. You'll be paying $400,000 to go search for your child. And it's gonna be a GoFundMe money if you is not as rich as if you're just as not rich as I am. That's the way I want to put it. If you're not some billionaire or something, or some millionaire. And it's crazy because some of these people they go look for in that manner have millions of dollars of their own, right? But then nobody would question them if they were to open up a family like that would open up a GoFundMe tomorrow, and some people donate millions of dollars to this GoFundMe, and nobody would actually ask any one question about it. And then the person don't have to actually leave their household. And that's what gets me the most too. Not I try to do it without making it sound like I'm somehow regret, because I don't. Nobody actually left their household, right? No left their household to go look for their loved one. So that's one thing for sure. Haven't left their household to go look for their loved one because they didn't have to. They have the FBI, they have multiple law enforcement agencies. I mean, they have it all, right? But a person like me, you have to do what you got to do, right? You got to give it all. In other words, you even have to go into depth, to financial depth on your own to get it done. So that's what I'm saying. And when I say all the time that Daniel is not just my son, he's America's son. Exactly what happened in this situation right now. It's happened to somebody today. There are 3,000 people that go missing every day. This is not even a joke. 2,000 children, over 2,000 children every day that go missing. This is literally what happened in our country. And it's really bad, you guys. It's really bad, and I'm just a small piece of that. So sometimes I've been thinking about, like, I'm on here, and I really have a lot of people that really support, and I really appreciate each and every last one of you. But it's a small piece of what's actually happening when it comes to having people like my family. They have to go take on all of this to find a loved one and still don't have them. So it's really painful. Lucille, thank you so much. Say walkie-talkies, phone rooms, board food, water, laundry, and other items Mr. Robinson would need to stay out in Buckeye, Arizona, to continue looking for a son. Yes, I've been there. I even cut costs when I was in the hotel. It was too expensive. I cut costs by getting a 1-bedroom apartment so I could cook and eat food, right? And so I try to do everything I can when I was out there to cut the costs and things like that. That's why I was really glad I had my car. I can tell you guys a little story I know to get off of here. I remember when I got in Arizona in my car, I had just got that car a little before COVID hit. Was it a little before COVID? But anyway, I had got the car, and as soon as I've probably been in Arizona for a good week, and somebody backed into my door, and I had to put the car in. The car was in the shop for like 2-3 weeks or something, probably about almost a month. Getting a brand new door put on it was crazy. Something came off on the interstate and broke the windshield. I mean, that was Arizona, but what I'm saying is, I was cutting costs when I was there, and I mean, it is a lot. You try to think about a whole bunch of stuff and then trying to run stuff at the same time. There's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. So yeah, when you say that, you say the phones and this and that, and I think their little small bedroom apartment was like a little mini office too, because I had to do a lot of printing and stuff like that. So it was a lot of stuff going on. Man, those are the details. When you say that, those are little small details that I probably would never ever mention when it comes to the cost of things I had to do too while I was out there to make it work, right? So that still go towards what I had asked for you guys' help on when you guys donated, and it added all the way up for 4 years. It added up to be $400-something thousand total for near 5 years now. Whoever made them threats to you by email are ignorant and think emails can be traced. And and that's the thing. They had some kind of, I forgot what to call it, but it was some type of email that my investigator, Ms. McGrath, just couldn't get information on, and that's why we needed the FBI into it. But like I said, it depends on who you are and things like that. Did you get that kind of attention? Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Brandy. Thank you, hands off. My pod, thanks so much. Good evening to you as well. Yes, I will keep fighting. I really appreciate that. And someone do know something, Brandy. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Always thinking of Daniel and hope he comes home soon. The way Daniel's case has been handled is so unbelievable. And let's see here. Zodiac, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, everyone, I'm about to jump off now, getting close to go ahead and jumping off. Zodiac Cancer 84, those two girls. and that boy Ken were the last ones seeing Daniel, and live. And I appreciate you, Zodiac. I still talk about Daniel in the present, um, and I really hope that somehow someone, you know, give me some answers. But you're right. Yeah, those are the last two people that claim. Well, it was three people that claimed to see him last. Of course, it was the female. It was also Ken, and then there's also another person who. And again, you guys, I can go on and on about these stories with the Buckeye Police Department. This guy flashed his badge. He had multiple people said it. He told me he was a federal law enforcement officer. He was impersonating a cop. He said that he seen Daniel, told the story. He finally got the Buckeye Police Department to, after pressure, to hear him talk. And then at the end of the day, they say nothing to see, nothing here. But he didn't get in any charges or anything for impersonating the cop. So I mean, it's all kind of things wrong with this case. Yeah, nothing is cheap. You're right, and private investigator chief Mr. Graff, he started off pro bono, but like I said, at the end, it did become that way. So he was paid. Let's put it that way. And so yeah, you're right. Nothing is cheap, and yeah. Thanks so much for that. Low Law, 1953. I thought of Daniel when the newest missing person case started, and went to national. Every case should get the same attention and respect as what's going on right now, and I agree with that. I know some cases right now. As a young girl went missing before this happened. I think like 2 days before, and people try to push this really hard. And I'm not gonna put the name out right now. I'll do that on my next live. And if God bless, I pray that she get found before then. But nothing, like literally nothing. Again, it depends on who you are, what you got, and who you know, all that kind of stuff. Will determine how that case is handled. Because if Daniel's case is handled the way cases I've seen so far been handled, they say, oh, we don't have no leads in this case. You're not looking for leads. It's almost like the FBI right now. They look for blood. Know how they look for Daniel's blood? They look for blood on in the vehicle stuff. They say we look with our eyes. We didn't see any blood, right? But I'm sure nobody approached things that way. If you're a real investigator or you really have a real intent to look for something, look for clues, do a detective job, right? They had no intention of really looking. I use that analogy all the time. Someone could say, David, again, I'm going to use the same one who probably heard it before. It could be a cabinet full of stuff, right? David, can you go in that cabinet in the kitchen and get that jar of grape jelly, right? And I said, sure. And I get up out of the seat and I go in the kitchen and I open up the cabinet and I see a whole bunch of bottles in there. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I just open it up, look in it, and I shut it back and say, nope, I don't see it. But nobody can say I didn't go look. But I didn't go move things around to go find it, right? So that's the same approach I see how law enforcement do in Daniel's case. They could easily tell y'all we went to go look with their search. That's why they haven't found even their own hands in their face, because they ain't even moved around or do nothing to find anything. They're not trying. But those people that like you that came out in the search room, that's why I love them to death. They found stuff. I have one young lady, I just call her Eagle Eye. She's fine stuff, man. She can just point out, oh, there goes a bone over there, and she'll find it, right? But what I'm saying is people that really care find things, right? Because they really putting their passion, their mind into it. So when somebody care, that's according to law enforcement as well, they'll put resources, and they'll spend $1 million in a few days or a few days for a murderer. But because they didn't know it was a murderer. They didn't know he was a murderer at the time. But they spent all that kind of money looking for him, though. So that's what I'm saying. That kind of stuff. Yeah, and that's right. And in the well as well. I always have searched all of that. That's another story. I'll be here all night. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that next time. Tracy, about the well that I had resumed in a sense, searched and all that. We'll talk about that again. Um, No, you're enduring an unimaginable, agonizing pain and grief. Yes, it is. It's very stressful, and doing it gracefully, strategically, and unselfishly. Yes, yes, yes. But thank you so much. I appreciate that, Hope. But yeah, I'm trying. I'll say like this, you guys. I'm just trying. I'll just put it that way. I'm not perfect. I'm just trying. Hopefully, your explanations will help people understand. I hope so too. Um, I feel like I'm missing something though. Thank you so much, Linda. Those who question, you should hope and pray they never have to go through what you are going through, sir. And I hope they don't either. I hope nobody got to go through that. No, that's why the reason why we got people like myself. I have a friend of mine. Her name is Katrina. She's with Mrs. Struggle. We have the Black and Missing Foundation. We have Missing America Network. We have, I mean, this all these organizations and people doing everything they can to, uh, I mean, do our part. I say we all like a big old instrument. We all have a part in the orchestra, right? And we all doing our part to try to find some solutions to where nobody have to go through this. But we have so much noise, and so much polarization in our country, man. Like people not realizing that this is happening. I mean, this stuff is happening until it hit home. People don't realize it, And like you said, I don't pray. I pray this don't happen to anybody because I remember when I was growing up, and I'm going to tell you how old I am, but certain things were put in a certain way. You didn't find missing Americans like that, right? And you don't really see it, but sometimes you see it on the news. They say, "Oh, somebody went missing," and it sounds like it's just one person per year or something, or one person or two persons per year, and you worrying about like, "Oh my God, I hope they find that person," but then you don't know, it's like they said, 600,000 people go missing every year, and you don't know the significance of that until you happen home. I would have never known that when I did. I was sitting not too far away. I'm sitting right now on my back porch, and I got that phone call from my daughter that just changed my life, like totally, right? And now I know all the statistics, and my son is part of that statistics, and I'm running for office because of it, and I'm doing, I mean, life changed. I'm telling you, everything happened just like that. I mean, just really quick. Change. It changed everything. Um, yes, he's well, yes, and I don't say respectfully for Mr. McGrath, though I told y'all the story of the way they ended. I was really grateful that Mr. McGrath. Now, when I said it, he did his job. Now, he didn't leave the right way. He didn't leave the right way, in my opinion. But what I'm saying is he did a good job. Now, I mean, we would have never known about the 11 additional miles on the vehicle. We'd have never known about the 46 initial cycles. We never known about that it was a stage event because of the damage don't match the terrain. We probably would have never found that red transfer paint that was sitting on that vehicle. And now notice that the law enforcement try to say a sunroof the glass on the ground came from the sunroof. We'd have never known that actually. Well, we probably could look that up, but explain to us about the panels, the time of the day when the accident first happened. And just all the information that's out there that we know about that vehicle only happened because of the work that Mr. McGrath done. So I can't say he did his job. And I can say that, he's a really good and private investigator. It's just that the way it ended wasn't favorable. I'll just put it that way. And because of in my opinion, not put a damper on him, but my opinion, I think he kind of started enjoying that interviewing a lot more than he probably should have at the time. But the thing is, but yes, he's definitely a good private investigator, I think, when it comes to finding that information. So I really appreciate him for that. And I think, money worth wise, most of it, yes, definitely, well deserved. But yeah, but the way he left, no, that was really hurtful because of that time when I finally, it's. I think people. I'm kind of putting it this way because I think people are looking at me now that do help me, like friends and the A team and some other. They know I am. I don't like to let my hand off of stuff, right? I had a campaign manager who had a test of that. It's hard for me to. I've been doing everything by myself so long, so when I do get people to kind of come in and help a little bit, it's hard for me to kind of let go. It's kind of like a gradual thing, and then they'll get hold to it. because I got burnt. I can tell you guys so many stories of how many times I got burnt. So it kind of got me that way, right? And so I think when Mr. McGrath left the way he did, it was really hurtful because it was hard for me to leave Arizona because I felt like I was leaving Daniel. I'll be honest with you guys. It was crazy. It's like my mother had to actually talk me into it, and then they were talking to me. Everybody was trying to talk to me. David, just go home and enjoy Christmas. We got it, my attorney. We got it, Mr. McGrath. We got it. We got it. We'll tell you anything. Anything happen, we're gonna, blah blah blah. And I trust, and I got on that plane, and then here I am made a U-turn, just that quick, And so that's what I'm saying. It's just that I think the way it ended, it was really hurtful because at the time, I'll be honest with you, Mr. McGrath, his team, Jim Archer, and some of the others, I looked at them as my friends because they was really out there with me in that desert. Like I said, Mr. McGrath, I give him that. I wish I could name that little vehicle that he liked, that little red one I just showed y'all tonight, and he have his hat on backwards and riding in the desert to go do his whatever you do, investigative stuff, right? Oh yeah, and I'm gonna back up to it. I've been put on here some of the costs as well. I even had to rent backhoes. Anybody know what a backhoe is? It's a tractor, because Mr. McGrath needed equipment like that to dig up holes in the desert where we thought was some freshly dug graves or something, or somebody hiding something. So he did things like that. So I had to pay for that stuff too. So I mean, so I don't have to keep going over and over again. It just really bothered me that, I think I was, and I haven't done anything for my son for any kind of show or anything. I just went out to go look for my son and fight really hard. Then people say, and I think I'm gonna use a prime example. I have a friend of mine. She lives in Switzerland now, and she told me she's a podcaster, and she and I was doing something. I think it was this year, and I needed some video, and it was happened to be on her stuff, right? Her Google, her YouTube. Her name is Gisela K. I don't know about no Grizzly True Crime, but anyway, I went to her stuff, and she told me, yeah, you can use the videos, and I found some of the videos that we recorded together for the desert. It was actually on her page. I was trying to, for months and years, I was looking for the certain video footages and that we had out in the desert, and she did so much close work with me that a lot of that stuff is on her end, right, of YouTube. And so I saw this one episode, she and I did, where she interviewed me, and she, Gisela is real good at put content together, like information wise, right? And she put all that information together really well. And so she had lined up a whole bunch of stuff that I have done, right? She put it in bullet points. And then here I am reading it on the screen, and then you don't realize how much stuff you had done until somebody actually put it in bullet points or writing, right? And it's like, then I'm just like, God, dog, I did that, because when you're out there looking for your loved one, you're not thinking on terms of doing things. You're thinking on terms of doing something, right? And so that's where I was at mentally. And then it's a lot of things have been accomplished out there. So when I say accomplished, it wasn't just David, it was everybody who helped me too. But when I say one man show earlier today, like I say, when I put certain things together, like I mean, I can go on about it, but I'm not going to do that. But some things are just David just doing these things because I know I have to, because I won't have that. I don't have the big team and the backing and certain little things. So I have to do it myself, right? So that's what I'm talking about. But I do have the A team. They came out in the desert to make sure that I was okay, and they take care of a lot of logistics stuff, paperwork, and part to help put the foundation together. I have the desert team before that was out there. I want to say their name so bad, but was out there to help me coordinate the search and plan and things like that. So I do have a team of people like that to help, right, in those behalves. But there was so much other things where I couldn't even have a team to do. That's what I'm trying to say. So just for everybody to be aware of that one. Hope, thank you so much again. I get the one, the transparency and recording it, but just keep your being put down. That's not right. Yeah, yeah, and I do. I keep everything, so I really appreciate that. And I'm not. I think I'm probably overdoing it now, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump off and just let it go. I let it go and pray and let it go. That's how I want to say. Pray and let it go and just let it be there. So thanks so much, Tatia. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here because finally I got a moderator. So I do have a moderator here. So thanks so much. We thank you and are praying for you to find Daniel. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Miss Linda. Everybody, I'm kind of jumping on really fast because I'm going ahead and end this live stream. Thank you so much, everybody who did come in. Oh, I see some super chats here too as well. Let's see here. So make sure I don't miss anybody real quick that came in. Thank you so much, Mel Senti. Oh no, I've been spoken before, but thanks so much for your comment as well. Pass Horizon, thanks so much. Pass Horizon reposted the stream. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Zodiac. I don't know if you were talking Q&As, but I have a question. Is there a reason why Daniel need $2 to $3 worth of gas? And have you ever tried to figure that out? And he didn't. When he had over $1,000 in his account, that's why I say I don't believe what Buckeye had to say about that. First of all, the other part is I went recently, and that's why I'm glad you brought that up, Zodiac, because I've meaning to for the last couple of weeks. I was going to bring Daniel's bank statement. I've had to do a lot of, redacting of his bank statement because privacy stuff. But I want to get a little portion. I might just do a little section so you guys can see that there's no such amount on Daniel's bank statement. So I'm trying to figure out what Buckeye even get that from in the first place about that purchase for that amount, right? But what I'm saying is not that $2 and $3. But anyway, but the whole point is even with the Buckeye gave me a picture of a vehicle sitting at the tank that morning. They say, "Oh, that's that Daniel vehicle." It's very blurry picture, first of all, but they didn't want to deny the other picture that was blurry. But very blurry picture. But then the tank is on the wrong side of the vehicle. So why we need $2 or $3? He definitely wasn't doing it to put it in the gas can. So like I said, and then he had enough money, and then he's driving a Jeep Renegade, which is a mini SUV. So there's a lot of questions with all of that. Thanks so much, Falconist. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Good night to you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. I'm going to try to jump off, and I want to say this real quick. Thank you so much, Falconist from Australia, I guess. Thank you, Falconist, for the super chat. I truly appreciate you. Your multiple super chats. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I'm really grateful for that. Thank you so much for your support and your love, and I truly am grateful. Thank you so much. Also, thank you, Brandon Lewis. Apart from donating and sharing the GoFundMe link, what can we best do to support you in your search for Daniel right now? One thing is I'm really gonna need the pressure to be put back on law enforcement. And so what I'm gonna do, Brandy, is I'm going to start. That's why I'm trying to do this live stream a little bit more. Again, I've been finding it hard. That's why I just do it on Friday because I'm running for office. It takes a lot. Doing this kind of stuff takes a lot, So when I think I kind of slow down a little bit, being on live stream, people say, "Oh, he moved on from his son." That is far from the truth. I am doing everything. I'm doing a lot of stuff. Like I say, even got this FOIA request stuff going on. And what I'm saying is, what I need is to continue to push people to help me with this mail-in protest that I have still going. I still need petition signed. Everything that's on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. I definitely need the flyers out. So, but to help me directly, I still have a passion. A couple things, everything run together. So I'm telling you like this, everyone, from the Daniel Robinson Foundation, fighting for Daniel, everything I have to do for that. I just described this a while ago. Even running for U.S. Congress is all part of everything that I have done since Daniel went missing. It's no separation. There's no daylight between those things, right? And so the difficult part I have is trying to juggle myself through all through all those hoops at one time, right? So if I don't have the staff, and for instance, the Daniel Robinson Foundation, you go on danielrobinsonfoundation.org. It is a true 501c3. You can get tests right off everything you can if you donate whatever. But the problem I have is we don't have the staffing. We don't have. I need people. So if anybody want to join the Daniel Robinson Foundation, please hit me up. We need people. That's one thing. If anybody wants to still help me with my efforts to find Daniel again, I need to continue to put this fire and flame to the Buckeye Police Department. And I'm telling you, the new detective in this case is Mr. Justin Adams. And so you guys can hit him up as well. But I really, again, because I got this financial struggle I was waiting on, I'm trying to get past that point so I can be more present in Arizona like I used to. That's what I'm really trying to do really, really bad, is because I notice, and I say this to families all the time, is one thing when you have a missing loved one in another state, but if you have one in the state that you actually had at that moment, you can always be in law enforcement face to make sure they're doing what they need to do. Because when you're as far away as I am and you're not there in their face, it's harder to get them to move. And they have a shade, they throw your stuff in. I said this a couple years ago, how I see it. When if I'm here in South Carolina and I'm just calling Detective Adams, for instance, and I say, hey, y'all doing a thing? Y'all out there looking for my son? And he land. My idea is that he land back and he on the phone with his leg on the desk, say, yeah, we out here right now searching for him. You know, I don't know that unless I see it, first of all, and I know they're not, because anything that had been done from law enforcement, when they claim it, they patting their back on all the couple searches they did. Searches they have done is less than my 5 fingers. And what they have done, they are patting themselves on the back. And when they had done those things, is because I put pressure on them. Because if I hadn't put pressure on them, they wouldn't even doing that. Because they gave me, remember those, you guys, they gave me everything, Daniel. And they said it was no more leads to follow. He said in public. And then when the newspaper came, they took it back off their social media platform. And they also told Mr. McGrath that they're not even investigating them more. That's why they gave him the black box data without even reading it. That's what I had the vehicle after the vehicle showed up. The next day they gave me the vehicle. So I'm saying is, what I need is the constant support, so I can put pressure on law enforcement. So when I built those infrastructure, in the sense, the mail-in protests, the calling the departments, still trying to push the Maricopa County to take on Dan's case, trying to make it a criminal case. Those things are important. Also supporting the Daniel Robinson law, signing that petition, because that's going to help a whole lot when it comes to me, hopefully, getting that law pushed in Arizona and getting it done, and I can get those cell phone pings that I've been looking for since 2021. So they're still there. They don't disappear. Again, like I said, it's still there. But that's what I say you can directly help me with. That helped me out a whole lot. Go to pleasehelpfinddan.com. All those ways are on there. And pray for me. Running for U.S. Congress is really hard. It takes a lot out of me. I'm learning a lot. I'm taking a lot too. I just did a town hall before I did this live stream, and I'm reaching out to everybody. But make a long story on the campaign, much of you guys think nice of me as a father fighting for my son. There's other people that think negative and nasty of me because of party affiliation, or without even hearing my voice, without knowing me, without having a conversation. People have their ideas about who you are, right? Just based on whatever party you decide to run for, or whatever. So pray for me on that part, because I really hope to get Daniel's law pushed, and Daniel Robinson's law pushed in Congress, in U.S. Congress as well. So pray for me on that. Falconess, thank you so much again. Yes, Grizzly, True Crime. Yes, she's a wonderful lady. Falconess, thank you again for the super chat. I truly appreciate you. God bless you. See what else I got here. I think that's it, everyone. Thank you, Minky. And if I miss anybody, I apologize. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, please, let me put the information up here on the banner real quick. I think I got it up here. Okay. these are couple ways you can get to me. That phone number is direct. It is a public number, so sometimes I am slow to respond, but I do. Please leave a message in a text message, and I'll respond to you directly. That's if you want to talk to me direct. Email, please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. And of course, the inboxes on Instagram. That's so many people hits that up, and it's sometimes every time I talk to people, I end up getting lost. I'll start a conversation with them, and then I can't find a conversation. So there's probably better choices that you see on the bottom of the screen right here, Brandy. I appreciate that. And let's see. And thanks so much for your prayers, Al. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you, everyone. I think that's it. So take care of yourself, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. As I always say, love your family. Tell them you love them every chance you get, even when you're mad at them. Even I'd give anything to let Daniel aggravate me right now, because he can do that sometimes. And so what I'm saying is just love your family. Tell them that you love them. Even when you're angry, it's good, easy to say, hey, I love you, but we just can't talk right now. I just want you to know I love you, though. But we can't talk right now because I need to get over whatever we're mad about right now. And once I get that, we can talk again. But just let a person know you love them, because, you don't want to be that person to be reduced down to a phone call. I mean, a old voicemail, old videos just to hear their voice or things like that. So, don't want to have those missed opportunities to tell your loved ones that you love them. Last time I was able to tell Daniel I love him was 2 days before he went missing, and the same for him to tell me that. So, the biggest challenge I have right now is forgetting what his voice sounds like. And so to not do that, we have to listen to, old stuff, that's been recorded. So take care of yourselves, you guys, and have a blessed night. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for believing in me. Thank you for, that's everything, donating to prayers and the kind words and you name it. So thank you, God. Thank you guys for everything. I thank God for you. So take care of yourself and be blessed.